How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Manor Lords, and welcome back to Nerdenfeld. Things are going pretty well once again. The number of people complaining about their requirements not being met has dropped off really nicely. We've only got 4 people complaining about that now. We did have nearly 50 at some point in the last episode, so things are definitely improving. They could continue to do so, and we could end up with no one complaining, which would be ideal. But away from that, we happen to have 39 months of food and fuel stocked up. We have 82 livestock, almost 75,000 regional wealth again, which is wild considering the amount of stuff that we are importing and using to sort of maintain the amount of food that we have here. But it seems like my trend of failing upwards is continuing. So I'm just sort of going to ride the wave and see where it goes and see what happens. And I suppose I can potentially use Nerdenfeld to support any other regions, which is basically, I mean, that's sort of been my long-term goal anyway. I'm thinking today we come over this way, and I'm thinking it's about time that we go into administration, we get ourselves a settlers camp, and we spend 250 of the 15,367 treasury funds that we have here. I think 250 to get ourselves a new region over here is a pretty good idea. It also has a rich berry deposit, which is very exciting. And honestly, I'm kind of wondering where I want to get started in here. This spot here is probably a good one. Although honestly, I do want to look at fertility. Wow. It is just fertile everywhere in this area. That's kind of wild. Barley's pretty good too. Flax is pretty good. Emmer is pretty good. That's amazing. That's that is wild is what that is. Okay, I'll tell you what we're gonna do then. Let me get myself a little settlers camp. We're gonna put it right about there, and we are gonna go for a plentiful start on this place is what I'm thinking. I can't really pick any of these. I don't know if they're unlocked in this demo or what's going on, but we'll go the plentiful start, which is a bit more expensive, but we can afford it. And then what we're going to do is immediately come in here and see what we've got. So we have some timber, we have no planks, we have nothing else, I don't think. So actually, let's see, we've got timber, we've got stone, we've got tools, we've got some bread, we've got some fuel, and that's about it. So we'll keep things paused for a second while I figure out what I want to do, because my thinking is that first things first, we want a logging camp. 100% we want to start taking out some of these trees. So let's go ahead and just put a logging camp. We'll snap to roads. I'm going to try and move all this stuff around eventually. I'm going to do a logging camp here, and I'm immediately going to want to get a forester. So we'll get those built hopefully as quickly as we can. We are also going to need a storehouse because all of my resources are just laying out in the middle of nowhere right now. So we're going to put it here. We are going to put a granary right next to it, and then we're going to get a pack station because that's going to let me bring resources from Nerdenfeld over to this new settlement. And I think that needs to be our top priority, which it is going to be built with just timber. That's fine. So that's a top priority. Let's set the logging camp as very high. Let's set the forester as very high. And then you guys are going to be high priority. You are going to be a high priority. And then beyond that, we need to look at some gatherings. So we're going to want a forager, which honestly, I'm sort of inclined to put down here. We do have berries and animals really close to each other. So let's do a forager right about here. And then we'll do a hunting camp pretty much right next to it. And that'll be a nice supply of food. A little bit of a distance away from everything, but that's not the end of the world. We don't need foresters down here. We could do apiaries. We don't have any planks though, so that's totally fine. And you know, these guys can just be regular priorities as well. In fact, you know what? This logging camp is going to have to be a highest priority, I think, because if we don't get that, we're going to run out of logs completely, and we happen to need those. So it definitely needs to be the highest priority. And then a saw pit. I mean, we need one of these as well. We kind of need everything. So we'll build a saw pit as well so we can start getting planks as quickly as possible. It's only going to be a medium priority, so that's kind of to be expected. And then I guess for housing, what I'm going to do is immediately come in here. I'm going to get myself a little road that sort of goes something like this. We'll bring it sort of up to here. And I'm just going to sort of snake this back through the forest. This is just sort of going to vaguely go to Can I build across? Wait, can I build through here now that I own both regions? Is that a thing I can do? It totally is. I mean, it makes total sense that I could do that, but that's actually kind of huge. That's kind of a big deal. Okay. Well, that's kind of exciting. Okay, in that case, let me bring this back a little bit, and we're going to curve you a little bit more in this direction, and we are going to try to sort of head this way. We're going to continue. We're going to then curve around once the game's done saving, which it now is. It's almost like I'm playing Transport Fever with the auto saving. But we're going to go right to here, and that's going to be a connection between both regions, which is great. But the reason I wanted to build this road and the reason it relates to housing is because obviously this can act as the back road for a whole bunch of burgage plots that are going to be going pretty much on this road. So we'll build to there. We can go straight down to about here. And then in here is going to be a bunch of burgage plots. So let's go ahead to housing. Let's go to burgage plot and say this entire thing is going to be burgage plots. I might regret this. I'm definitely not going to be building 20 plots at once. That's for sure. It would look really good if I did, though. It would be amazing to start with those, but that's probably wishful thinking. We'll just go for, well, we need 5 of them. So we'll go to here, we'll go to there. That gives me 6 of them, so we can start growing the population here as well. And I think those need to be, they need to be very high priority. At least 5 of them need to be very high priorities so that we can get people to not be homeless. That's kind of the goal there. So now we'll let things run. And then as soon as everything's built, we can move people out of this upgrade to a worker camp. What? Provides crude living space for 5 families. Contrary to burgage plots, can't be upgraded or expanded, may cause a small loss of approval. I didn't know you could upgrade this. Huh. Well, that's news to me. That's definitely news to me. Let's see what we got going on. So this is going pretty well. We also have a hitching post, don't we? We're going to want to move that at some point. In fact, can I move it? Is moving it now a bad? Moving it now is probably a bad idea. You know what? Let's just, oh, the pack station's done. In that case, since this region has money, let me immediately order a mule and let me, oh boy, I don't know if I want to assign anyone to this right now, but I think I need to. I'm not 100% sure if I need to, but I think I might need to. And then what we're going to do is head back to Nerdenfeld. We're going to head over to this little pack station. Our partner is going to be the neighboring region. We are going to send, I guess we're going to send bread to keep them fed. That seems like a good idea. And then we're going to be receiving, I mean, there's nothing that we really need. That's the thing. I mean, barley is probably the big thing. I don't know if, I mean, they can't do anything right now, but we'll figure it out. We'll see if that ends up being something that works. They don't have any barley to send us right now. There was a thing there. Partner region has no storage for this kind of good. Yeah, that makes sense. We will have storage for it though soon enough. And we can also go ahead and get the logging camp up and going, which is going to be very important. And we can also say that the logging camp is going to work in, you know what? Let's use this space over here just for the time being. You know, now that I think about it, it probably would have been a much better idea to go for some larger plots here. So I think what I'm going to do, since we do have a decent amount of money, is immediately get some chicken coops in here. But I'm also going to build a road right alongside these plots here, because what I can then do is extend that back a little bit further to say that spot. And I think that's going to be sort of the size that we're going for on the backyards of these burgage plots. Because then if I get rid of this road, which I can do with an alt click, just like so, it does get rid of those, but that's honestly okay. I'm not too worried about it. We'll do this. That's going to give us some huge backyards. That might even be too big in this sort of space. But if we go and have a look, and we do have a bit more timber now, if we go into construction and we go to residential, we can go to burgage plot, and I can say that, you know, maybe a little something like this up to about there and across to there. We need 8 logs to do it, but those are going to be some huge yards. And what we can do with those basically is build some vegetable gardens, get some serious vegetable gardens as well. In fact, I think we're going to do that immediately, is go straight for some huge vegetable gardens. So pretty much off the bat, we're going to have eggs, we're going to have vegetables. We are shipping bread over from Nerdenfeld. So as soon as, oh God, the camera, the game does start to get a little bit wild once you start spreading out a little bit, once you start getting the populations up there. So I'm expecting the camera to be all over the place. But my hope is that I can just get a massive number of burgage plots in here, and then we sort of go from there. The problem with this region, I suppose, is that absolutely everywhere has fertility. So, well, I say problem. It's not a problem as such, but it's a problem because I'm struggling to think of an individual place that I want to build, because I'm always thinking, man, I could put farms here. So yeah, it's definitely a thing. Now these guys are running out of food. We have none, apparently. That's kind of concerning. I don't know how to feel about that, although it does sort of make sense. We didn't get the hunting camp up and going, so let's prioritize you. Let's prioritize you. And let's see if we can't maybe get some meat over here. Or at the very least, maybe ship over some, I don't know, let's send, we've really got nothing to send. We could send hides, I guess, and receive bread in return. That's what I'm hoping to do anyway. So we'll see how that goes, and then we'll have Nerdenfeld as the barter partner. And we'll just hope for the best. We'll hope that we can get some bread in here. The hunting camp is up and going, so we'll go ahead and get someone working there. And you know what? We'll get two someone's working there, just so that we can hopefully quickly get some meat into this new town. Now, apparently we have increased our settlement level, which then begs the question, what am I going to specialize in for this place? Now, it is crazy fertile around here. It really is. So it's very tempting to go straight into heavy plow, into bakeries. We could do a lot of bread making. We could double the capacity of all berry deposits. And we do have a rich berry deposit here, so that might actually be the one to go for. It's not going to be super useful right now. This would enable us to skillfully lay traps in the forest, giving us a passive income of meat. This will double the amount of meat harvested by hunters and butchers from goat pens. This will also let them collect hides from traps. This lets us get wax, which we can trade. I don't know if I want to go in this particular direction though, because again, this is a crazy fertile space, and realistically, we are going to want irrigation if we go all in on farming. So 1, 2, 3, we would need to spend 3. Well, we need to spend 2. We need orchardry. We need irrigation. We don't have rye here, but that's fine. We have fertility for wheat everywhere. So if we wanted rye and we wanted bakeries, that's 4 plus irrigation is 5. Basically, we'd need to spec fully into farming again, which I just don't know that I want to do. I think the berries might be the way to go. I don't know. I'm sort of struggling a little bit. Charcoal burning does, so that makes firewood a lot more efficient. Man, there's some really good stats that we can go for. There's some really good choices that we could go for. I think realistically, a passive income of meat. I think we're gonna chance it. We're gonna head in this direction. I do want the heavy plows as well, but I'm gonna go for the passive income of meat just to start with, so that my hunters can do their thing. The hunters also happen to want to get their hands on a market, so let's get ourselves a little marketplace back here. I think what we'll do is just bring a road. I don't want to do a giant market though. I think giant markets are half of my problem, right? So what if I did a little road here that goes to about that spot? We go straight across like this, and what if that's my first market in this region? So it's going to be, what is that, 3 market stalls? That's fine. That is totally okay. So just a tiny little market back there. That'll supply these guys with some food, and hopefully that'll keep us in a decent little spot. Now, if we look over here, this storehouse is ready to be built. The granary is not ready to be built. Let's make you the highest priority, because we do need somewhere for the food to go. And hopefully that's going to mean we can start bringing the food in from Nerdenfeld. That's definitely a very big hopefully, but it's hopefully we can do it. And honestly, I did totally forget to get a woodcutter's lodge. So let's go ahead and get our hands on one of these guys. I'm sort of thinking we just put it sort of down here. We could put it over here. I think honestly, you know what? We'll just put it next to everything else, since that's kind of the way we're going right now. And I think what I'll also do is set up this forester. Even if there's no one working here, we will just set up a forester to repopulate the space around these buildings. And once someone gets working there, we'll hopefully be okay. Now we have the granary up and going. We don't have anyone working here either. We have the storehouse up and going as well. No one working there. But hopefully that means that we're gonna see people bring some stuff into these pack stations, and hopefully that means that we're gonna see some food come in here. At the very least, we actually do have 4 months of food. It's the fuel that's holding us back now. So let's maybe take one person out of this hunting camp. We only have one market stall anyway. Let's put one person into the woodcutter's lodge as soon as it's built. That way we're not freezing to death, and that way we're not starving to death. At that point, we're hopefully going to be in a position where this region's a bit happier, and then we can start growing the region a little bit as well. And then hopefully we can also get all these burgage plots up and going as well. I think we're just a little bit busy down here. I'm probably overwhelming the 5 people. Well, there's 15, but the 5 families that live here are probably a little bit overwhelmed. So now what we'll do is, like I said, go ahead and get someone working in the woodcutter's lodge. They can start using timber, or well, they just go chop down trees and turn it into firewood. But that should hopefully put us in a really good spot where we are not going to have people freezing. We're not going to have people starving. And if I do have a look at our food situation, we do still have some bread. We have a little bit of meat. We have some eggs. So I want to say that it might not be a bad idea to go in here and just get myself a few more chicken coops in here. This feels like cheating, but we do have the money for it, so I'm gonna do it. And then over here, these guys, gonna be vegetables. It is gonna be vegetables. It's gonna be more vegetables. It's basically these giant plots exist for one reason and one reason only, and it's vegetables. So we'll get all of those in there. We are gonna need to get some goats at some point as well, because that's going to give us a supply of hides that we can turn into leather. That'll be a source of clothing for everybody, and that'll also keep them happy. So that might be something to look into, maybe with this last one, although let's be realistic, it's going to be chickens. So let's go in here. We'll get some vegetables for you. We will get some chickens for you, and that should put us in a really good spot. That is, once everyone starts moving in here and the approval continues to increase. People were a bit cold. They were homeless. They're not very happy about it, but things will hopefully start looking up here in a little bit. I think what we can also do is maybe we move the stable. I think the stable can go right about here for now, which hopefully we can build. We do have an ox running around, so hopefully the ox goes and grabs some timber from somewhere. Looks like he's absolutely doing that. So we'll get this thing sorted out, hopefully build it in no time at all. And then maybe we get our hands in another couple of those at some point as well, just to improve things. Although for the time being, we have 35 timber. So let's take another, this might be a risk. This might be a really bad idea, but I'm just thinking I want to lay out these burgage plots pretty much immediately. In saying that, I don't know if I want them to have that flat front on them. I mean, they're all going to be connected to, they are connected to the road, but it's a little bit more boring that way, isn't it? So what if I do this instead? That gives me 4, which is fine. So build those and then do this. Annoyingly, it's not following the curvature of that road. That does bother me. That's absolutely not what we're going for either. I think we're just going to have to deal with the fact that they're going to be a little bit more flat in the front than I'd like. But you know, I'm gonna go for this. Those are gonna be some huge vegetable gardens, which is yeah, that's totally fine. that's gonna be totally fine. This market still has 1 free stall location. Do I want to expand it? I definitely could. Oh god, there's the camera doing its thing again. I'll tell you what I'll do actually. Let me go through here. We'll do some burgage plots on the other side of that road, not quite as big as the other ones. But we'll go to about this spot. We'll bring a little road down something like, I want to say something like this should be totally fine. I think maybe right to about there. We can go ahead. We can build some burgage plots in here. This is going to be a little bit of, it's going to be a bit too much growth, I think, for this region, to be quite honest with you. So maybe I want to think twice about this. I'm getting a bit carried away and I'm getting a bit complacent, I think. Not maybe complacent is not the word. I'm getting too comfortable. we'll do these three. These three are going to have goats. If we go into our industry, we can turn hides into leather. So we'll get ourselves a tannery right here. Again, all of these are going to move at some point, but that's also going to provide clothing to people. So that's going to be another need that they have. That's going to keep them happy. And that's kind of what we want to do. Now, in saying that, this gatherer or this forager and this hunter, not going to be enough to sustain things. So we are going to want to look into farming, I think, sooner than later. So let's see what our options are going to be. Now, emmer fertility is fantastic. Rye fertility is fantastic. We don't have rye as an option. So let's just use this space that we have right next to us, I think, as some initial farms. That seems like a pretty solid idea. I think we can maybe extend this road back a little bit. We'll go to, let's say, there. We can come off of this road a little bit. We'll do some curves just to be kind of fancy about it. And we'll go to, say, here. We'll come down and we'll do another road and that'll be all right. We'll come over a little bit further, something like this. We'll go up and around as well. Maybe a little bit smaller this time and then come straight down as well. And that'll just be 2 fields that we can play around with and hopefully grow some wheat in. So let's get you set up just like this. We'll go around all of the corners, which is absolutely perfect. So build this. We will build this one as well, which is hopefully going to keep us in a really good spot too. And you are going to be set up to do wheat, and we'll do 2 years of wheat. We'll do 2 years of wheat here as well. And what I'm hoping is that by the time we have these fields sorted out, we're also going to need a farmhouse, of course, which we can build in this space back here. My hope is that with 2 years of wheat, we can then start building farms elsewhere and sort of focus a little bit on the actual layout that I want for this space. Because this isn't the long-term layout that we're looking at here. This is the, I'm trying to get this place set up. I'm trying to grow the families a little bit, and we're trying to, I don't know, we're trying to survive, basically. Now, let's get some goats on these guys so that those are up and going. The tannery is just going to need logs as well, so that's totally fine. And then these guys, again, they're going to be vegetable gardens across the board. What do I need for a level 2 burgage plant? I need water and I need a church and I need clothing. Okay. Let's have a look at logistics, or is it residential? It's one of these. It's residential, has the wells. Let's get ourselves a well. I'm going to say back here is probably a good spot for it. So we'll get ourselves a well right about here. That'll give everyone access to water. And I could do one over here as well. I don't know that I need to, but it's not really going to hurt if we do. So we'll build ourselves a well right about here as well. That'll give everyone access to water. And then the church is made with timber, it is made with planks, and it's made with stone. So we'll hold off a little bit because we're going to need those planks. In fact, looking at it, we do have 29 timber. Let's get someone to work in the saw pit. Let's set this to a minimum of 20. We'll slowly start getting some timber, and that'll be great. We also have the storehouse and the granary. It might not be a bad idea to get people working in the granary. Although, let me have a look over here. Do we have anyone working at the forager? No, let's get someone working there. It's June. There are 128 berries right there. That's going to be a great source of food for us. So let's keep that going. And in terms of food, we still have a little bit of bread. I don't know if that is being brought over from Nerdenfeld or what that's about, but a little bit of bread never hurt anybody. Unless it was a couple of years stale, which is definitely a possibility, as is the case with Nerdenfeld. There's 41 months. there's over 3 years worth of bread in Nerdenfeld right now. That's going to be a miserable experience for whoever has to eat that. I do not envy that person. Gonna be some stale bread is what that's gonna be. That's gonna be rough. But I'll tell you what, let's get all of these guys upgraded with some vegetable gardens. As all of these fill out, that's gonna be an amazing supply of vegetables for absolutely everybody. We've got goats down here as well, which aren't gonna be doing anything until people move in, but that's all right. And our approval is hopefully only going to continue to rise. Although in saying that, we also do want to get our hands on some kind of church to make them a bit happier. So maybe the church goes up here. Maybe we keep this space open. I mean, it would be a nice farming area, but I'm very tempted to say that a church up there would be a great idea. Still don't have any planks though, so we'll have to wait until we have some. But that's sort of what I'm thinking. Also, the game's just really struggling right now, and the farmhouse is done. So let's get someone working in there. A whole one person for the 2 wheat fields. It's probably again wishful thinking, but you know what? Wait, 18 months of wait, what? How are we doing that? It's gonna be the eggs, isn't it? It's the eggs and the berries. It's gonna be, that's how this is gonna happen, isn't it? This is gonna be another town that's just backed up entirely by by eggs. That's, oh man. I might be abusing the money that we have here. I might be abusing this regional wealth. And there we go. We've got ourselves 45 planks in this new region. So let's get ourselves a little church just all the way up here. I think this is absolutely where it should go. I think it's a fantastic spot. So we'll go for, yeah, I think we just go for right about it. We could put it in the middle of some farm fields as well. I don't want to put it on the stone deposit, although there's not much stone there. I guess we can go for something like this, and that'll be totally fine. And I think I'm going to bring some roads off of this thing in kind of an interesting way. I think we'll sort of come down a little something this way. We'll just sort of curve it around, and I guess over to the existing road is fine. We've also got this little path that sort of comes out the side of it. So let's just go, I guess maybe back that way with it. Although there is a road that comes off the back as well. So maybe this one sort of comes out and goes towards the hunting area a little bit. Maybe skirts around it ever so slightly, so we're not going right through, and then curves over towards this road here. That seems like a decent idea. And then for this one, we can sort of go straight out, maybe sort of past the stone deposit ever so slightly. We'll curve to the right, and actually it can go right over there, which seems like the perfect place for it. So right to about there. And that gives us a great little connection for the church. And honestly, I think putting some farms around that would look amazing. So that's something we can do a little bit later on. Maybe some houses in the road that leads up to it. Doesn't really matter. We don't have anyone that can build it right now, which is totally fine. We are going to have more people moving in here soon enough. And the reason we don't have anyone that can build it, by the way, is because we've got people working in the forester's hut now. So we should, and we sort of do, see some trees popping up around here, which should make life a bit easier for the logging camp, for the woodcutter, for the saw pit as well. It's hopefully just going to make things a little bit more stable for those guys. They'll have to travel a little bit less far, which is what we're looking for. And then soon enough, hopefully, we'll have some people in here that can build the church. That'll make everybody happy. I can upgrade to, well, eventually I can upgrade a level to Burgage plots. They do need clothes, which means the tannery has to be up and working. And the fuel situation is an interesting one as well. You guys just need a church and clothes. You guys need a church, clothes, and fuel. So that might just be a case of there not being enough fuel to go around. Which, now that I think about it, we have food, we have firewood, we have food. We might just need more markets. So I did put a road in here. I was thinking that I could, if I wanted to, build essentially a giant market, but 70 market stalls seems like a lot. I'm not gonna lie. That seems that seems excessive. So we're not gonna do 70 market stalls. We could do even 20 at this stage. Seems like a lot. 4 doesn't seem like enough, especially for the size of the space that it was taking up. What if we did this? That's still 4. That's 8. That's 12. Can I get something? I mean, 12 isn't bad. I might go with the 9. I think we'll go with the 12, to be completely honest, or the maybe 8. I think we do 8. That seems like a good start. Just 8 market stalls right about there. That's what we're gonna go for, and those should start building pretty quickly. I think there will probably be there'll probably be some demand for some market stalls in here, or not. I guess that's totally fine. I was completely wrong. I was hoping there would be. Why is it? Because, yeah, it's because we only have one person working in here, so that makes sense. Let's get another one working in there. Immediately going to build a market stall, which is going to be for firewood. And that should be good for just about everybody. At the very least, it'll be good for these guys because it's a fair bit closer. So we'll keep that in mind. This thing is... It's going to take a minute to build, I think. We'll make it a top priority so that it just gets done over anything else that might need done. Not that there's anything else that does need built down here, but you never know. Now, you know what I'm thinking I might do while I'm waiting for everything to build and for more people to move in here? I might come through and start laying out roughly where I think we could do some farms. Now, we do have some space directly around the little church here that I might play with, and I'm thinking that's kind of what I'm going to do, because as it stands, we can't build right up against the church, unfortunately. It does have a square sort of perimeter around it. So we'll do something like this. We can go a little bit further out to here. We'll come down to about this spot as well, and we'll connect these all together. So that gives us a nice little perimeter around this thing. We want these roads to be connected together as well. And then in terms of putting farms in here, I mean, I'm not going to place all these farms right now because it would be ridiculous, but let's just see about getting some roads that sort of come off of this thing. I don't know if I want to go straight up this hill, but I think we'll sort of go in this general direction. So you go uphill a little bit, and then we follow the contour lines just over to here. I think we can sort of do the same thing here. I might just do this so that we have a bit more of a straight edge here, because that's going to be tricky to play with in terms of farm fields. And then we do have this stone up here that we're going to have to be wary of. So let's not get too carried away with that space just yet. The same with here. I think we just do a little section of road like this so that we're not worrying too much about the weird little angles and stuff. Although it will probably fill in just fine, and probably the same with this one as well. So you know what? We'll let it happen. We'll see what happens, and we'll go and deal with it if and when something happens. As for this little road, we'll bring it out. We'll bring it down. Ooh, that's not what I wanted to do at all. And then we can curve it over towards this guy. And that gives us a decent sized field, which I think I'd like to split in two. So we'll sort of bring this road through and then bring it over like this. And that can be a couple of farm fields. This could also probably be split if we follow this contour line a little bit. We can do something like this, and that'll be another couple of farm fields. And keep in mind, all of this land, more or less, is ridiculously fertile. So this is hopefully going to be good for us. I think for here, we can come down. We can sort of go in this general direction. And I think what I'd like to do with this road is just go past everything that I've built so far. I wish this camera, that's, it's such a pain. There's nothing I can really do about it right now, though. We'll pass everything we've built. We'll just go sort of towards the end of the region, and that'll be okay. And then what we'll do is cut sort of across here, a little something like this. That'll be another field. This little road can continue sort of in this general direction. I'm sort of going uphill. We'll curve it around kind of sharp there towards this road. That can be another field. And this is kind of just what I want to do with this entire space. I think this as well can actually just continue over this way and go around the stone cutting, something like that. And that can be a weirdly shaped field as well, if I can pull it off. That might actually have to be split in two now that I look at it. So let's just do that very quickly. So that's a field. That's a field. This will eventually be a field. These are all fields, and similar story in here. Basically, the entire space is just going to be chopped up into a bunch of fields for hopefully a massive amount of, well, bread production, really. That's about all we can do. And would you look at that, we even have the little wooden church up and going, which is fantastic. We've got 4 people unassigned right now as well, which is definitely interesting. We have 7 months of fuel, 20 months of food. We're doing okay in here, which is great news. Let's go ahead and upgrade the storehouse. I think that's kind of important. Let's upgrade the granary as well, because I do think that's kind of important as well. We can gradually get people into these spaces. And I think what I might do, honestly, even though we don't need to do it right now, I think I'm just going to get these fields in here now. And then I'm gradually just going to throw more and more people at all of the farmhouses that I will inevitably need to build around here. So we'll get some farms in here. We'll get a farm out here. I'm not gonna bother with little farm burgage plots this time. I don't think it's gonna be worth it. And you know, I've got to be honest, I think getting rid of this road might be a really good idea. So get rid of you, which is an entire stretch of road that goes out here, which is a bit of a shame, to be honest with you. So I guess we can do this for now. That'll be a field. This road then needs to continue the entire way through this space. We'll kind of come close. We'll curve up this way, curve around this way and connect to this guy. And then this thing, I think, just sort of continued past the hunting spot. And I think it went out towards this road somewhere like there. So that's totally fine. Let's very quickly get all of these farm fields in here. And just so we're clear, the method to my madness here is that it looks kind of cool. I know I said I wasn't gonna go crazy with aesthetics, but you have to admit, a little church surrounded by these farm fields, it's a pretty good look. And then what I think we'll do is we'll set up this first one to be wheat, and then we'll just sort of go in a pattern and say that we'll move the wheat kind of around. So every other one moves the wheat to a different spot. So third year for this one. Then this one's going to be first, which actually I need to make sure crop rotation's on. This one's going to be second year. This one is going to be crop rotation for the third year. And then we're back to first year for this one. We're back to second year for this one. And then we're back to third year for this one as well. And I think this is all of them, if I'm not mistaken. Crop type fallow, third year right here. This one's back to crop rotation. First year for wheat. Is it any good for barley? It is very good for barley. I should rotate through barley as well. Didn't I say I wanted to do that? I don't think they all need to be barley, but I think anyone that's wheat first year can be barley third year. And then anyone that's wheat third year can be barley this year. I think that's kind of how we'll rotate barley through here. So there will be some years that I don't think have any barley, but the idea is hopefully that we can make this work. I've really got no idea if this is a sensible approach. It's definitely not going to get worked anytime soon because realistically speaking, we do not have the people to do this, but it looks cool. And that's what's important. That's what I'm going for with this, is something that looks cool. And you have to admit, this looks pretty cool. Now, in other news, let's get ourselves 2 people working in the tannery because we do have some hides sitting around, which is very exciting. I don't think we have anyone living with the goats right now though, but we do have some hides, I'm assuming from the hunters. So we should see some more market stalls pop up at some point. I would imagine, and I would hope at some point we'll see those market stalls pop up. I also dread the idea that anyone's going to try and farm these. They are trying. They are, you know, God bless them. They're definitely trying, but yeah. That's a lot of fields for you know, like 4 people, I think is what I've got in here right now. Yeah, it's a lot of fields for 4 people to deal with. They'll get there. I'm sure they'll get there. It's just a lot. But here's the good news. We do have a clothing stall, which means I can upgrade this burgage plot to level 2. I can't upgrade any of the rest of them by the looks of it, but we can upgrade one of them, and we need 2 of them to get up to the next level of village, which I'm thinking is when the heavy plow is going to have to come in. Although, again, irrigation would be amazing, but I think the heavy plow, given the number of fields that we have, is maybe the sensible option. In saying that, I mean, we do have a ridiculous amount of eggs already. We have a lot of vegetables, so I'm sure we could manage. But yeah, just to be safe, we'll get the heavy plow. We also do have room for another ox, which is great. Let's also upgrade the stable because that sort of makes sense. And then eventually we will probably move all these around, like I've said. But for now, we can keep all of my industry clustered right in there, and that should be fine. Let's see. Can I upgrade any more of these? I can upgrade this one, which is great news. And we have raiders. Interesting. Where are they? They are right in my territory. Now that's a little concerning because what I might need to do, if I can get the game to work with me here and the camera not to go crazy, I think what I need to do is go ahead and rally the troops a little bit And I think I can rally them. Yeah, I can rally them over here, which is great. They've got a bit of a distance to cover to get over here, but that's all right. We can absolutely, I hope we can manage. The game's really, the game really doesn't know what to do with itself right now. It's definitely struggling, but we should have the troops coming over this way. We do have the enemy up here. So, I mean, as long as we're defended, I'm really not too concerned about what happens. So I guess what we'll do is we'll send my guys to, I'm gonna say here, because it kind of looks like the enemy's coming straight for this new region. So I think we can pull this off. Let me grab my archers. We'll grab you, we'll line you guys up a little bit. So we'll go for something like this. And then the rest of you are going to line up in front of the archers, and we'll see if that works out for us. So right about there should be good. Let's get you all lined up nicely, if you wouldn't mind. And then we'll just sort of advance. Yeah, the enemy's still all the way over there. So I don't think putting me in a forest is going to be a good idea. Maybe I just hold position. And by the looks of things, that's probably all I really need to do. I'm not too sure that my archers are going to be all that useful though, so I might move them a little bit further forward just so they are actually able to do some shooting here. We'll go ahead and get some over on this side. I'll move you back a little bit. I'll get some over on this side as well, just so they've got a little bit more range on them. The enemy, you know, now I'm slightly concerned. Oh, there they are. Okay. So they're coming through the trees. My archers are opening fire pretty much immediately, which is doing, I mean, it immediately broke the enemy lines. Can we just deal with the rest of them nice and quickly as well? Is that going to be, yeah, that looks like it's going to be no problem at all, which is fantastic. So, I mean, we're already defending the new territory, which is great. We've got those guys broken as well. Are there any more of them? I want to say it doesn't look like it. I can't disband the unit in, well, out of their own home region, so we'll send them back to Nerdenfeld, and that'll be all right. And that seems like a job well done. I've got to be honest, that seems like a job really well done. Although it has just hit me that we do still need to get our hands on a corpse pit. So let's get a corpse pit and put it, I'm going to say over here is somewhere that we're not really looking at. So we'll build a corpse pit right about there. That'll be just fine. Hopefully we can get people working in there in no time at all. They can pick up the bodies and everything should be all right. I don't think, oh, that's grim. That's, that's, oh, buddy, Fritz, I am so sorry. I'm sorry you have to work in those conditions, mate. That's a bit rough. That is definitely a bit rough. Let's get this thing to be a high priority build. I'm assuming these families are coming out here to deal with that. They absolutely are. So this really shouldn't take too long to put together. It's just a big hole, really. So if you wouldn't mind, there we go. We'll get one person working in there because I think that's all we really need. And do we have anyone in these houses yet? We do, which is fantastic, which means we should have the tannery up and doing its thing. And we do. Actually, I totally forgot about it. We do have an upgrade point here as well. So I'm going to be honest. Wait, hold on a minute. The amount of meat harvested by hunters and butchers and from goat pens? I didn't know goat pens gave meat. That, huh. Okay, so maybe we do want to go in this direction so we can improve. We can have passive meat income. We can get meat from goat pens. We can get hides from goat pens. I mean, it makes sense. Of course, you get the hide. I'm an idiot. Of course you get meat from goat pens. Well, no. I don't know that you do by default. Does this upgrade mean that you now get meat from goat pens? Because I don't think you do. Usual. I mean, of course you could. Where else do you get the hide from? But okay. The heavy plow is a must. I think that's definitely something we need sooner than later, because we can go and upgrade the farmhouse and then assign an ox to work this thing, which is going to make it, I'm not going to say it's going to be possible to work all these fields, but it's going to be closer to being possible to work all these fields, and that's kind of what we're looking for. I'm also relatively content in saying that we can probably expand these burgage plots up to this spot now. I don't think I want to use that corner though, because it's a little bit ugly, so we'll do this instead, and and we'll free that corner up for maybe a market or something like that. But I do think getting more burgage plots in here is the right call. It means I can put more people to work in the farms. We still have room for 8 of them. And we can also, now that this thing has been upgraded, can I assign? There we go. Permanent livestock assignment right there. So now we have a free mule, we have a free ox, but we should be a little bit more efficient at dealing with all of these fields. Again, I'm not expecting a miracle here, but it's a step in the right direction, and that's all I'm looking for. I'm also thinking that there's probably a decent few of these guys that can be upgraded to level 2 now, so let's just go through and start doing that, because it's going to be a little bit of passive income from the region, which I think is going to be a really good idea. We don't have the timber for it, unfortunately, which means that we probably want to get more people in this logging camp. What do you actually sell over here? Food? Interesting. All right, well, we'll get more people in the logging camp. I don't know that I want to tear down all of these trees, but that's fine. And you know what I'm also thinking? I kind of want the forester to do what he's been doing over in Nerdenfeld and start surrounding these farms in trees. I know it's so unnecessary to do. We do not need to do it. But I do want to do it because I think it's going to make the farms look better. And I know it doesn't matter. I know the aesthetics aren't important. I know it's silly. But I do want the farms to look cool. They already look pretty cool, I think. But I want them to look that little bit cooler, you know? I want them to be surrounded by trees. It's important to me, okay? It doesn't matter, and I know it doesn't matter, but it's important. It is also worth mentioning that upgrading to more level 2 burgage plots is going to upgrade our town's level, our settlement level. So we have 1, 2, 3 of them right now. I think it's 5 to get the next level, right? It is, absolutely. It's 5 to get the next level. So we could go straight to advanced skinning, which might not be a bad idea. Although I have to remember how many levels there are. You see, here's the thing, right? I don't think bakeries they're not essential. They are, they are more efficient than the communal bakeries, but they're not essential. I feel like irrigation is the most essential out of every single upgrade that we could get, especially with this many farms. I think irrigation, we can't sleep on that. We can't sit without it. We can't do without it. I'm going to go for advanced skinning just because I want to see how that works and what it does. And I want to see if that can give us a really nice supply of meat. But I do think we need to start heading straight for irrigation once we do that, which I would imagine is going to be momentarily, because again, we have this guy under construction. We have this guy under construction. We have 3 of them already done, with a bunch of them already looking to continue to level up. So I would definitely imagine that we're well on our way to getting this place up to whatever the next level happens to be. What is it? Current settlement level, medium village. Next is large village. Yeah. We're absolutely well on our way to doing that. And there we go. Settlement level has been increased. So, we could go straight for bakeries as well. We could go for the orchardry. I'm going to try out advanced skinning. We're going to see how that goes for us. Everything else is a work in progress. That's fine. That just means that the next 2 upgrades will be orchardry and irrigation. But now we need the level 3 burgage plots. And to get level 3 plots, we need a tavern, we need to upgrade the church, and we need more clothing options. So we're not going to worry too much about those. My goal isn't necessarily, I mean, obviously we do need to worry about those. We do need to get up to irrigation. But I think my goal right now, to be completely honest with you, is going to be to just get more people in here. We'll get a few more farmers. We do have a bit of a yield on the way. I might just get rid of these fields. I'm not going to lie. It might not be a bad idea to get rid of them and then put maybe a little farmhouse out here. Something a bit closer to the fields. You know what? I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm just going to get rid of these fields because we just don't need them. I don't think I can. No, I can't click and just move the farmhouse, unfortunately. So remove these roads because, again, we don't really need them. We can clear this one out. We can clear that one out. And then what we'll do is we'll get ourselves a farmhouse. This is it's such fertile land, but it's everywhere. Everywhere is fertile. So I need to remember, you know, I'm not wasting the land. It is everywhere. It's totally okay. So let's turn off snap to roads. Let's rotate it around. And we'll just go for right about there. And that'll be our new farmhouse. And that'll be totally okay. It'll be great. We can move everybody to working in there. And everything's going to be fine. I just need to build it. And hopefully we can do that quickly. I suppose it's probably worth mentioning that switching over to having some of these fields doing barley, I did that because I'm well aware that you do need the tavern supply for the level 3 burgage plots. So that is going to work out nicely for us. My only concern is that we do need either shoes, I put a THES on the end of that, shoes, clothes, or cloaks for the level 2 clothing. Although I guess that's maybe where the leather comes into play, because we are providing leather as a clothing option right now. We do have some surplus leather. We're going to have a lot of hides as well. So if I go to industry, actually it's not industry that I'd want to go to. I would want to go to a burgage plot. And I would want to say that instead of doing what you're doing, I would want to level you up and have you be a cobbler's workshop. So you, for example, are not going to do goats. You are in fact going to do shoes. And then you, I want to say, I mean, I don't want a tailor. I don't need a tailor. We could do a joiner. I'm going to do a joiner as well, because if I do a joiner, I can build a trading post. I can export the shields, and that'll be great. We could also do, let me see here. So we have the cobbler. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to get a Fletcher, and I'm then going to get a joiner. So I'm going to find out if I can get my own little militia in this space, and that'll be great. If I can't, then we just export the bows. And we're also pretty much going to exclusively export the shields as well, which means that we are going to want to get our hands on a trading post. And that's kind of why I wanted to leave this space open a little bit, because I think getting a trading post right next to all of this would be kind of cool. The only downside is that it doesn't fit. That's a bit of a shame. Can I rotate it around and make it fit somehow? I am going to say that I probably can't, unless I sort of rotate it at an angle, in which case it also doesn't fit. Well, that sucks. Okay. We have this space over here I can't do anything with. We've got this little intersection I could do something with. Maybe for the time being, we just have it snapped to roads and we'll put it next to everything else. I think the lazy option here is probably the smart one, just for the time being, until I start leaning into aesthetics that little bit more. I say that like I'm not already leaning into them with the farms, but it's fine. So you are going to make bows. You are going to make, I mean, you could do wooden parts. So it's 2 planks for 1 wooden part. It's 1 plank to 1 small shield. Let's do 1 to 1. And then when the trade post is built, which I realize is going to need some workers. Oh, man. Oh, boy. Okay. Upgrade that farmhouse. Let's get that done for 1. Let me demolish the old farmhouse because we don't need it. That's going to free up a bunch of workers, which is great. So they can go and build the trading post. Make that a nice top priority, please. And once that's built, we'll get like 1 person working in there. Once this is upgraded, we can get a couple of people working in there as well, which it now is. So 1, 2, once the game wants, oh, this game, I love it. I really do, but it does struggle a little bit. It really does. We'll get 4 people working in there. We are down to 2 months of fuel, which is a bit of a worry. We can get another woodcutter though, so we'll do that just to be safe. The trading post's up and going as well, so we'll get ourselves a... We don't have the stable space for a horse. That's a bit of a worry, but I'll tell you what we'll do. We have some money. We have 692 gold. I'm going to buy a trade route, and it's going to be small shields. And we are going to say that we want to export them. We don't want a surplus at all. We are exclusively exporting the small shields. And that's going to be a nice little supply of money right there. And that'll keep us in a good spot. I'm hoping that I don't need horses for it. If I do, I can get one. But I'm not going to worry too much about it. We will be totally fine. Is this market full? It absolutely is. Let's get another one. And I think we'll do a market just over here. This is something I'm wanting to learn, is whether or not small markets are better than big markets. And I'm thinking they probably are. I think realistically, the smaller markets are more controllable. So we could do 4 stalls there. I think we'll just do this with the 8 stalls, and that'll be totally fine. That'll be a little market space in that corner, and that'll be great. Also did see a bit of money coming in there already, which is fantastic news. And I'm wondering, yep, clothing stalls are being supplied. So now we just need to increase the church level and get ourselves a tavern. To increase the church level, we need roof tiles. To get roof tiles, we need clay. And to get clay, we're going to have to use this guy over here, or we have to import them. Either way, that's something we can worry about, I think, in the next episode. This seems like a really decent start for this new region. I think we are going to want more burgage plots, but we want to make sure that people are going to be fed and fueled, which for the most part they are, but I want to be safe about it. We do have a lot of eggs. We do have a lot of vegetables. We actually do have a good amount of berries, considering it's January as well. And we do have some meat sitting around too. So I think we're doing all right. I think the one thing I'd like to test just very quickly is whether or not I can get myself an archer militia in this region. And it looks like the answer is a resounding no. Unfortunately, it's kind of looking like the answer is going to be a no. Can I hire mercenaries? I can. New to the region, hailing far from the west, the region of customs and tongue are strange. They rarely mix with locals. Okay. So I can hire them. And then I pay them 45 each month for okay. So I can't form another militia, unfortunately. Even in a different region, I can't form an archer militia. So you know what we're going to do? Back to the trading post. We're going to go to here and we're going to say buy the trade route for war bows. And we're just going to export those as well, because I'm just going to rely on the Nerdenfell guys to defend us across the board. And then in doing that and exporting the military equipment, hopefully that's going to keep us a really nice amount of money. And if I need to, I can use that to trade for more food, but I don't think I'm going to need to. I think I'll get away with all of these farms. I just think that we're going to need to expand the burgage plots. And to be quite honest with you, oh, I also totally forgot to move this forester's plot to a different spot. I'm thinking kind of here now to just get, you know, that nicely repopulated with trees. But I think what we'll have to do is I think what I might do is continue sort of around here with some really large plots. Probably not this big. Maybe, well, you know what we can do is we can do the road. Well, actually, we don't have to go that way. I probably will, but we could probably do something over here as well. Regardless, we'll do more large burgage plots for more vegetables just to make sure we have a lot of those. We can get more chickens as well. And I think that's going to be the backbone of this place until we have an unreasonable number of farmhouses. And then once we have an unreasonable number of farmhouses, we'll go into getting ourselves some windmills, some communal ovens, and we'll just have this place up and running like nobody's business. And it'll be great. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm also noticing that we do perpetually have bread, so I think Nerdenfell is shipping bread over here. I just don't really think it's shipping enough for it to be worth it, which is a bit of a shame, to be quite honest with you, but it's okay. This is a decent start. Nerdenfell is 125,000 gold. It's also actually got pretty much 4 years worth of food and fuel right now. Man, Nerdenfell, I love Nerdenfell. It's so good. It's so good. 879 people as well. That's amazing. Still some people complaining as per usual, but you know what? That's okay. That's totally fine. That is actually ridiculous is what that is. That is so ridiculous. But you know what? We're going to leave it there for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.